Let's say I lost everything tomorrow. No portfolio, no savings, just zero. And someone handed me a fresh start in 2026. No second chances, no trial and error, just one decision. What would I buy? Not 60 stocks, not crypto, not some complicated option strategy. 3 ETFs. That's it. Most investors don't fail because they pick the wrong investments. They fail because they overcomplicate decisions that don't need to be complex. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which 3 ETFs I'd choose and why. And when I show you how the same 3 ETFs can be arranged 2 completely different ways, one building toward $1 million in income, one crossing 2 million in pure growth, you'll understand why simplicity wins every time. Here's the truth most people miss. An ETF isn't a magic trick, it's just a structure. A way to own hundreds of companies at once, automatically, at almost zero cost. Companies that grow become a bigger piece of the portfolio. Companies that shrink get replaced. You don't manage it, the index does. The question was never how many ETFs you need. It's which few can handle every job over time without forcing you to start over. Number 1. The Foundation. VOO. The first ETF is VOO, and I'd never build a portfolio without it. VOO tracks the S&P 500. 500 of the largest companies in the United States, weighted by size. When a company grows, it takes up more space. When it falls behind, it eventually gets replaced. You don't predict anything. The index does the work. Here's why that matters. The S&P 500 has survived 2 world wars, multiple recessions, the dot-com crash, the 2008 financial crisis, and a global pandemic. Entire industries have risen and fallen, and yet the index kept moving forward because it constantly renews itself. Historically, VOO has delivered about 12.5% in annual share price appreciation, plus a dividend that currently yields around 1.1%, growing at roughly 6% per year. The expense ratio is just 0.03%. That means for every $10,000 invested, you pay $3 a year in fees. $3. Compare that to actively managed funds charging 1% or more, and that difference compounds into hundreds of thousands over a lifetime. Here's the uncomfortable truth behind those numbers. The majority of professional fund managers fail to beat the S&P 500 over 10 years. Not because they're bad at their jobs, because fees, taxes, and bad timing stack up against them. VOO sidesteps all of that. It doesn't try to be smarter, it just participates. For an income investor, VOO represents ownership in profitable businesses generating real cash flow. For a growth investor, it's the stable foundation that everything else builds on top of. The emphasis may change, but the foundation doesn't. And that's exactly the point. VOO isn't exciting. It's not supposed to be. It's the one holding that stays in place, no matter what direction the rest of the portfolio takes. Get this right, and the rest becomes much easier. Number 2, the growth engine. Q. The second ETF is QQQ. And this is where growth starts to mean something. QQQ tracks the NASDAQ 100, the 100 largest non-financial companies on the NASDAQ exchange. In practical terms, that means a heavy tilt toward technology, innovation, and scale. These are businesses that take their profits and funnel them back into growth. Software, data infrastructure, automation, entirely new product categories. Why does that matter? One concept: return on capital. A company that consistently reinvests its profits at high rates compounds faster than one that can't. Over long periods, even a few extra percentage points of annual return turns into life-changing numbers. Over the last 10 years, QQQ has averaged annual share price appreciation of about 18.5%. That number comes with a trade-off. QQQ falls harder during downturns. Always has. But here's the thing most people get backwards. Volatility isn't the real risk. Being forced to sell at the wrong time is the real risk. When you're early and contributing regularly, downturns don't hurt you. They help you. Lower prices mean your contributions buy more shares. Your dollar cost averaging into volatility. Every crash in QQQ's history, 30%, 40%, even deeper, eventually reversed. And the investors who kept buying through the drop came out ahead. The only way volatility becomes dangerous is if it changes your behaviour. If it scares you into stopping contributions, if it makes you sell at the bottom. That's the real risk, not the dip itself. QQQ's role in the portfolio isn't to replace the foundation, it's to accelerate it. When compounding speed matters more than stability, QQQ adds horsepower. But it was never meant to carry the portfolio alone forever. That's where the third ETF comes in. And once all three are on the table, I'll show you exactly how to combine them. Because one arrangement turns $10 a day into a portfolio that pays over $2,000 a month. The other turns the same $10 into $2 million. Same ETFs, completely different outcomes. Stay with me. Number 3, the income anchor, SCHD. The third ETF is SCHD, and this is the one most people add too early, or never add at all. SCHD focuses on high-quality companies with strong cash flow and a track record of paying and growing dividends. Think Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Texas Instruments, Cisco. These are businesses that are already profitable, already established, and already generating more cash than they need to reinvest aggressively. Their priority is returning capital to shareholders. Here's the mistake most new investors make. They treat dividends as the goal from day one. The math doesn't support that. When a portfolio is small, the income isn't meaningful enough to change outcomes. But the cost to compounding is real. Every dollar paid out is a dollar that can't compound internally at higher rates. But here's what changes as the portfolio grows. When the portfolio is large and contributions become a smaller part of the equation, cash flow starts to matter in a completely different way. Instead of selling shares to fund expenses during a market downturn, the portfolio keeps generating income. That behavioural stability has real mathematical value. Staying invested through bad markets does more for long-term results than squeezing out extra return in good years. SCHD earns that role because it's selective. It doesn't chase the highest yield. It screens for balance sheets, payout ratios, and sustainability. Currently, SCHD carries a dividend yield of about 3.8%, with dividend growth averaging over 10% annually, while share price appreciation has averaged around 7.8%. That combination, income, growth, and selectivity, is exactly what you want when the portfolio needs to produce cash without dismantling the engine that built it. SCHD doesn't try to maximize returns. It supports behavior, consistency, and sustainability. And in the long run, those three things matter more than most investors realize. How to combine them. 2 portfolios. Here's where most investing conversations go wrong. People assume growth and income require completely different portfolios, different strategies, different accounts, constant reinvention. They don't. The same 3 ETFs, VOO, QQQ, SCHD, can be arranged to do 2 very different jobs. One emphasizes growth, one emphasizes income. Neither requires starting over. Let's make it concrete. Assume you start from zero and invest $10 a day. Every day, dividends fully reinvested. No timing, no stock picking. Just the 3 ETFs in different proportions. The income version allocates 20% to VOO, 10% to QQQ, and 70% to SCHD. That tilt toward SCHD pushes the portfolio toward consistent cash flow and lower volatility. After 30 years at that pace, the portfolio reaches roughly $990,000, just under $1 million, and generates about $2,100 a month in dividends. That income arrives without selling a single share. The growth version flips the weight. 20% VOO, 70% QQQ, 10% SCHD. More horsepower, more volatility, more compounding speed. After 30 years, the same $10 a day grows to approximately $2,100,000. Monthly income stays small, around $157, because nearly every dollar is being compounded internally. Same 3 ETFs, same daily contribution, same 30 years. The difference is what you ask the portfolio to do. Neither version is wrong. The income version is for someone who needs the portfolio to eventually produce cash. Predictably, sustainably, without emotional pressure. The growth version is for someone who wants the portfolio to become as large as possible and doesn't need income yet. And here's what I'd tell anyone starting over in 2026. Start with the growth version. Let the portfolio build mass. And as priorities shift, meaning as income starts to matter, rebalance slowly toward SCHD. You never need to rebuild, just adjust the weights. So let's bring this together. You've just learned why 3 ETFs, done right, can outperform almost any strategy that sounds smarter. Here's what this really means. Every complex portfolio, every hot tip, every market prediction still has to beat a boring index fund. After fees, after taxes, after the emotional cost of managing it. Most don't. Picture yourself 10 years from now. You've been investing $10 a day into VOO, QQQ, and SCHD in the right proportions. You haven't touched it. You haven't panicked during the crashes. You haven't chased the next big thing. And your portfolio has quietly compounded into something that most people who tried to be clever never reached. Picture yourself 20 years from now. The decisions you made feel obvious in hindsight. They always do. The only question is whether you made them or kept waiting for something better. Here's what to do right now. First, open a brokerage account tonight if you don't have one. Second, decide which version fits your life, income or growth, and set the allocations. Third, automate the contribution, even $10 a day. Let the system do the rest. Don't wait for perfect. Don't wait for more money. Start with what you have. Your future self is counting on you. And the first real choice you can make right now to start building that portfolio is to subscribe to this channel. Every week we break down exactly how money actually works. No complexity, no noise. Let me know in the comments which version you choose, income or growth, and why. If this video helped you, leave a like so more people find it. I'll see you in the next one.